Okay, so hello everyone. Today I want to present to all of you the topic I have selected for this presentation and the final essay of the subject of contemporary thought. As you all know, if you are seeing this video, the title of my presentation is Analyzing the European Union and its evolution throughout the decades, focusing on the moral principles and values and mainly the democratic accountability of the different EU bodies. The European Union was created in 1992 with the Treaty of Maastricht as a result of economic and political integration bodies that started after World War II. As of 1950, the European coal and steel community began to unite European countries economically and politically in order to ensure lasting peace. The six founding countries were Belgium, France, Germany, Italy, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. The 1950s are dominated by a Cold War between East and West, and the community established its basis through the Treaty of Paris and Rome. The Treaty of Paris in 1951 and the Treaty of Rome in 1957 created the European Economic Community, also known as the Common Market. Through the following decades, more European countries would become part and continue strengthening the Union and the European integration. And it was finally in 1992 when it was finally consolidated and the integration was brought to a higher level, with the collapse of communism. In 1993, the single market was completed with the four freedoms: movement of goods, services, people, and money. The 1990s was also a decade of two treaties: the Maastricht Treaty on European Union in 1993 and the Treaty of Amsterdam in 1999. The basis of the European Union was the identity and its values were clear. EU countries defended the prevalence of a society in which inclusion, tolerance, justice, solidarity, and non-discrimination values were its base, and also firmly defended human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, the rule of law, and human rights. These were the values that made the European identity and the Union seen as an example for the rest of the world, as one of the best cases for integration and cooperation between the European states, for the good of all of them. However, through the last decades, the EU has suffered to continue having an important role on national policies and to present itself as a democratically legitimate and ethic body. Events such as the economic crisis in 2008, the Mediterranean migrant crisis, and the refugee crisis in the last decade, the lack of agreement in fundamental rights such as LGTBI rights and environmental policies have weakened the position of the supranational organization. One of the key issues from which the European Union has been criticized is the reducing of democratic accountability through the creation of maximization of European bodies that cannot be accounted directly by the citizens, and it is only reliant on national governments. For example, the European Central Bank, one of the most important bodies in Europe, that sets the monetary policy for the European area, the Euro area. Its executive board is appointed by the European Council, a body formed by the prime ministers of the national governments, members of the European Union. Therefore, it is a body not directly elected by the citizens, and therefore, citizens have no power on deciding which members shall form the executive board and which direction shall the policies take in this important body. Democratic accountability has become a critical issue in supranational institutions throughout the last decade, as sometimes there are many mechanisms, either voluntarily or involuntarily established, contributing on the reduction of citizens' power and voice, and therefore the institution could become less democratic and therefore, as said, may not be following the will of the people, but the will of the elites and other national or supranational interests. As explained, I will be focusing on one concrete body, the European Central Bank, as an example to explain how democratic accountability is crucial for a healthy democracy. To do so, I will use different academic resources. These will be: First, an academic research on transparency, accountability, and democratic in the European Union, a lecture by the European Ombudsman, a professor at the School of Advanced International Studies of the Johns Hopkins University. The second resource I'll be using will be the accountability mechanisms of major central banks and possible avenues to improve the European Central Bank accountability policy, done by the Department of Economic, Scientific and Quality of Life Policies, the Directorate General for Internal Policies. It was a research study that was requested by one of the European Parliament bodies, the Econ Committee. And then lastly, I'll be using a third resource, which is a video resource, a documentary called The Europe's Challenge, Democratic Accountability, a report done by Falk, Lamos and McCarthy. So through these bibliographical uses, I will try to understand the accountability that is done through the European Union and its different bodies. So I hope that you have all found my topic quite interesting, and if you have any doubts, recommendations, or critiques, I will be more than open to read them and to think about them before writing my final essay. Thank you for spending your time with me, hearing me, and I hope it was a great time, and I'll see you in the following weeks. Cheers!